Sarah, would you like to go first?
I guess someone has to. Yeah, I'm really introverted, so like, believe it or not, I get cranky when there's a lot of people in the grocery store, so this is a lot
So
for
this
me.
is a lot for you right now?
Yeah, but fandom and art and television shows is something I really enjoy and love, and gotta chase that joy. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Thank you. How about you, Cristina?
All right, hi everyone, I'm Cristina, also Athena Tano. And for me, as a late diagnosed ADHD autistic individual, this is really important to me, this conversation, because there's a lot of grief that comes with that late diagnosis and understanding and kind of redirecting. But to Sarah's point of now having the tools to find that joy and then what do we do with it, but while also giving space for that grief, these conversations have become more and more impactful, and so super excited to be a part of this as we bring it to life.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. Lawrence.
So one of the reasons why the companion, I guess, exists, I think you wanted me to share this story, is that my wife, about 20 years ago, she was a pro gamer. In fact, number 3 in the country in Tekken 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what she did. But unfortunately, through all the toxicity and the abuse, both mental and physical, at these tournaments, because sometimes people don't like losing to girls, to women playing games, she quit. And imagine being at the top of your game and chasing something, like your dream, but, foregoing it. So during lockdown, I started seeing kind of a similar, same kind of loneliness and isolation, I think that we all kind of saw on the different social networks and online. And so I asked Sarah, my wife, how do we build a platform for fans like you to be able to have a safe and welcoming space? And that's kind of what we did, and Amanda was so instrumental in that. Our first event was uplifting women in film and television, and that continued to grow and grow and grow into what we have now with embracing mental health as a fandom. So anyway, thank you for letting me share that quick story, but that's kind of why the companion is what the companion is today.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Amanda.
Oh, I don't know. Well, many of you know the story of my eldest brother, Stephen, who's passed away, but he struggled with schizophrenia and epilepsy and a myriad of other mental health issues as a result of his schizophrenia and epilepsy. And I always felt that there wasn't enough that I could do for him as his only sister and as one of the people who was kind of responsible for his care in his later years. But I never felt like I was doing enough. I never felt like I could crack through that one barrier, being his mental health. I was supportive, but I didn't understand. And when he passed and I saw what an impact his life had had on people, and people that I would never, the church where we had his funeral was in a very impoverished area of Toronto, and transvestite prostitutes came to his funeral, and homeless men and new immigrants, and they all had something really wonderful to say about my brother. And I thought, wow, it was so uplifting. I can't even tell you. It changed my life and my perspective on my brother, but it also changed my perspective on mental health, because he was stigmatized his entire life. And yet what he gave to his community, what he gave to his community in the end was so joyful and impactful. And he had such a huge impact on the little community that he lived in. And I thought, wow, we have stigmatized mental health for so long and not understood it at all. And also when we were talking initially, I kept coming back to mental health, and I don't know why, and of course I do know why, but I didn't want to, connect the dots, I guess. But I kept coming back. And also, beyond my brother, this fandom is the most, and I was saying this in my mini panel, Stargate in particular, but sci-fi fandom is so phenomenally inclusive and supportive, and you look out for each other, and I say we now because I'm a fan also, but we care about each other. And I see it at conventions, and I've seen it for 25 years, the impact that you guys have on each other. And so I just think the conversation is so ripe to be had. And we all come from a place of wanting to really help and make people not feel alone. And so that's a very long-winded way of saying, I don't know. But yeah, that's my sort of personal input.
Thank you for that.
So I personally, I will just say very quickly, I was diagnosed borderline personality disorder in my 20s. Went through a lot of therapy for that. Have worked for years in EMS before I joined the Companion with Lawrence. And so mental health has always been super near and dear to me as well. So I was very, very excited for numerous reasons as a big Stargate fan when the idea of this series of events that we've been doing was brought to me. But I would love to hear kind of from Lawrence and Amanda how this kind of evolution came about. Maybe talk about the elevating women in film and television and how that started and then kind of morphed into this.
Yeah, sure. So in order to build a safe community, the one that was welcoming for like my wife, Sarah, you know, you could go down a very obvious route and make the website pink or something, right? And do that, which is ridiculous. You wouldn't do it that way. And I had this experience where if you can use content and conversation and community to actually build what you want, that's actually a much more kind of honest and authentic way to be able to do that. And one of the early conversations, I think maybe it was one of the first Zoom calls, like when we were kind of brainstorming, I had said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we didn't call it uplifting women in film and television? What if we just called it like amazing directors in film and television, something like that? And I remember speaking to a lot of different advisors who were women, and they said, you know, I still think we need advocacy and champions, and I think you need to put a label. Just what are you about straight at the front? And so I said, okay, we'll do that. Uplifting women in film and television. And it's not just for women, anyone, but if you celebrate that, let's go for that. And hence we were able to do a whole series actually after the first one we did with you, Amanda. We did ones around elevating Black voices in science fiction, and do other elevating diverse voices. But you know, the one kind of thing I think we share are some of these mental health conversations that we're kind of having. And so we thought, why don't we lift that to the surface? So the Companion, although it started off as a fun, safe, in-depth sci-fi community, really is now going to be in a mental health, embracing mental health community. That's what it is. And so we've fully kind of committed to that as our mission.
Yeah, it's been great. I think we've done 4 events with you now, and we've done mental health specific events with you. And it's been really interesting to see the evolution of our conversation as we've gone along too. So how have you felt over the past year doing these? It's been a year doing these events and these. We've had small group sessions where people have been able to talk. How has that felt to you?
I would say initially I had huge imposter syndrome, like so many of us do. Who the hell am I to talk about mental health? What do I? I decided after our first one, when the feedback was so positive and people really felt helped by the sessions, that it was like, okay, let's just come at this from a place of joy and say, we're all just here to listen and support each other. And that coming from a much more joyful place rather than what are we gonna do? How are we gonna deal with it? Mental health. Coming at it from, whoa, what can we do today to support each other? What can we do to listen? What little catchphrase might get somebody through their day? And approaching it with joy changed it for me. And we talked about this, Rebecca, just about how you're so nervous, it's the first event, but then people, and I say people, you guys are all so gracious and open and honest and heartfelt that now I feel like now we come from joy and the joy of the community, honestly, yeah.
That joy through many rounds of tears, I feel like. It has been just life-altering to be able to present this with all of you. It's been the most amazing gift, I feel like, at this point. And we're super excited, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit, the next evolution of that we have going on, which is why we all got these purple shirts on. That being said, if there is people with these shirts in the audience, if you are able to, could you stand up? Look at that. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for representing. It's so important. Awesome. Thank you so much. Before we talk about, though, I thought we could do a mini kind of check-in like we do, but we're going to check in with you, Amanda.
Oh, golly.
So yesterday you mentioned in a panel, and it really touched us, that you were starting to feel insecure in front of the camera. And being in this con settings where you're constantly like being watched and being photographed and on stage, I just wanted to check in with you on that, because that's a lot.
It's, you know, I shocked myself by actually being as honest as I was yesterday about the insecurity. Because it's something that I could easily just sort of hide, but then I thought, if I'm gonna be my true, authentic self with all of you, which after all these years, why wouldn't I be? Then I should say that. But then it sort of triggered a whole bunch of things for me where I was like, I don't wanna see the pictures, I don't wanna see the pictures. And people, you know, I saw a picture and went, oh, there it is, there's that voice, there's that, wow, you don't look as good on camera. And so yeah, but it was in a way triggering, but also very, like I took a boulder off my shoulders and shared it with everyone, crunched it up and just blew the dust away. That sounds stupid, but yeah, because it's been something that I have been deeply insecure about for a really long time. Yeah. So it felt good to just be able to say it and go, you know, we all have days where we feel crappy and don't want our pictures taken, or don't, you know, bad angle.
All the low cameras down there. Yeah. And we see the other side where all of these fans come back to our unofficial table and they're like, look, oh my gosh, they're so happy. Beaming. Yeah, and so it's great. We want to check on you on the other side.
Yeah, no, it's great. And this con in particular, I think because you're here and because we're talking about this, and it's, you know, we're really moving this conversation forward. It's been really wonderful. And I think also being honest allowed people to be honest with me about how they felt about themselves, which is why we're here to share, you know, like, yeah, it's great to get a photo, and it's great, but we're here to share with each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you.
Okay, so on that note, the mom in me, wanting to check in, wants to know, have you hydrated? Do you have snacks?
In our little mini panel just now, somebody handed me Twix. You're here, but thank you.
We have some water.
Thank you.
We have some snacks for you. But more importantly, did you remember your phone, or did you lose your phone? You know, because sometimes people lose their
I
phone.
haven't lost my phone. How about you?
How did they find it? I may have lost my phone, and Amanda was lucky to find it for me. So thank you, looking out for us.
You almost cried. It was really sweet.
I saw it. So all the simple check-ins and being kind and authentic and vulnerable, it just helps level that anxiety. So just wanted to check in with you, see how that's going, and hydrate.
Cheers.
All hydrate. Hydrate.
Be honest out there. Is everyone hydrated?
Please
I see some waters back there. Good, good. Keep hydrating. It's very important. Do as I say, not as I do. It's been bad this weekend. I know it's been a hectic weekend for a lot of us here. It's kind of stressful, and I hope that everybody's being graceful to themselves and to everybody around them, because it's difficult. It's hot. It's very hot here.
Rebecca, can I add something? Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is part of the script or not.
No,
There's a script.
I know.
There's no script.
The script.
I think this whole weekend has been really amazing, at least for me. And I've been stuck in a corner with t-shirts and book plates and telling them about the candidates. I've actually not really seen the convention, but I would love if everyone can give all of the staff members
That was literally the next point.
Give yourself a round of applause, okay? And everyone else here, a round of applause.
Thank you all so much for doing this, for being here, for overeating yourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because it's not easy on anyone's mental health when it's warm and you get agitated and things happen and no convention goes smoothly. And so, but we're a team. We're all a team, okay? And anyway, so you already gave a little applause. So thank you so much for that. And
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you. It was indeed the next point on the script, so
My bad.
So there was a script.
wait a second. There's a bullet list. All right, so let's talk about this next evolution of what we've been doing, because I think it's really exciting. I can give my perspective, because if you have attended any of our Embracing Mental Health as a Fandom live streams or green room sessions, I've put a call out for stories from all of you before every single one of them, and clearly it's impossible for us to have been able to share everything that we've read, and we have read all of them, and they have been amazing, and some of them novel-length, downright novel-length stories about fandom and how fandom has positively influenced your mental health. So that kind of leads to this next evolution, and Lawrence, maybe kind of kick off how we started talking about that.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm not as front-facing with the Embracing Mental Health as a Fandom as a series. It tends to be the Fries and obviously Amanda. But I do man the customer service emails. Okay. Thank you for everyone who sends me hate mail. And so when Rebecca was asking for stories, the first time around they were so wonderful and so lovely, but they tended to be, 280 characters or a couple of sentences. It was really great because we can then share them during the live streams on maybe how Stargate affected them, saved their life, mothers and daughters, sons and fathers, kind of find and refine this amazing franchise together. And then they started getting longer and longer and more in depth and more vulnerable and more open. I think it's because the community became more and more comfortable. And I thank you for trusting us in being able to deliver your stories in the right kind of way. And the longest story I got one time, I forgot to eat lunch. I ended up copying and pasting it into a Google Doc, and it was 17 pages, single space. And it was like, whoa, like we're doing something, and there's no way we're going to be able to do this story justice if Amanda and Rebecca talk about it in say 5 sentences. So what could we do? And so again, we had a call and a brainstorm, and this idea of, the only way to kind of do these stories justice is through a format, through a form that allows for that, and it would be a book. It's a book that, I'll let you explain why you like a book, Amanda.
I like the book idea because it puts all of the stories into one place. So people can pick it up at any time and flip and read someone's story and not feel alone, or feel like they can relate, or something they haven't even thought of. But there's something that I love about a tangible book, and we'll talk later because this will also be available online, but for free. But the tangible book idea of just being able to flip and go, and check in. Maybe like TV series where you have your favorite episode, there might be a favorite story that you keep going back to that gives you comfort at a time when you need it. So I love that idea. It also is going to force me to share a bit more of some of my stories. So I'm so petrified, but also I feel like it's a good thing.
Yeah, so to kind of explain this, the book, there'll be different chapters, and we've been doing this kind of 60 for 60 Stargate challenge where you watch a Stargate episode each day, and then I ask a theme about it, and then people share stories. And that was sort of the warm-up. That was get you to start thinking about, some of your stories. And so we'll have a series of questions coming out over the next 6 months that hopefully Amanda and we will be asking to the community And then hopefully that will help make up the other half of the book. And so every single chapter will start with stories, hopefully from Amanda, and then it will be actually a uniquely crowdsourced book. This is genuinely a book that will be created by the community. And exactly like what Amanda said or alluded to, we felt like the stories, just like our live streams, were going to be so important. If you can help contribute with a pre-order of the book, we really appreciate it. But if you can't, on the exact same day when the book will go live physically, it will also go live digitally, so it's 100% free for everyone to be able to interact and read and participate and everything like that. So that's what kind of the whole contents, of the book. And then the book itself, one of the reasons why it's priced a little bit the way it is all of these little design details that we're putting into it and resources that we're putting into it. Some people might have received book plates this weekend for the pre-order. You won't know this Easter egg, but one of our concepts, in fact, Amanda, you don't even know this. One of our concepts is universally together, right? It's this idea that when we look at the stars. Oh, yes, for sure. You know this. But the bookplates itself, they are designed for a reason, because if each of you members put your bookplates together, it actually creates one gigantic quilt.
That's really cool.
Everybody just went,
That's just like a little bit.
So I have a question, if I can ask this, and it can be to Lawrence, Amanda, and Rebecca too, because I feel like you've been leading the questions, so maybe you should answer some. But all of these that came through, obviously, there's these categories, these questions that can come out over the next, 6 months. And if there was one particular grouping of concepts, because I think for a lot of us, maybe we talk about mental health, but we're still in this stigma space where it's this unknown and we don't have the tools or we're uncomfortable breaking it into digestible pieces. Because there may be that aspect of, well, mine is, this deep depression space I'm sitting in, or someone else's might just be this manicness, or this might be this, late diagnosed ADHD or whatever. But of the stories that have come in, is there an overall category that you feel most excited about to really get into the book? And what I mean by that is, Rebecca, what question can we say what question's gonna come out, or what are we launching?
we've talked about some topics and we do have some questions. You're asking specifically what, me personally, I am most self-worth and imposter syndrome, which is something that I struggle with sitting on this stage right now next to Amanda. And we've talked about this so much, the two of us. So for me, I would love to hear other people's stories about that, and whether you struggle with it or what you've done to overcome it, or a story about how that was, something in your life helped that. I would love to hear that.
That's great. I think there's so much about grief, and its many forms. The loss of a family member or a friend or a relationship, and I feel like because people approach it from so many different angles, that fascinates me, because we all handle grief so completely differently. But at the end, it's all still comes from the same deeply embedded place for all of us, which is grief. And so I find that fascinating. I'm excited to sort of explore the different levels of grief and how people are coping with it.
Same. Lawrence?
I think I've talked so much. I would love to give the floor to Sarah, actually, instead of...
Thank you.
Yeah, I was protecting it. Go. Something I wanted to point out about the book is we've had the privilege to see some very early proofs, and it's not going to be just a normal book. It is going to be very much a work of art. So that, again, is something that gives me joy, art in its many forms. So it won't just be words on paper, but a very beautifully presented work of art for your home to have. And I think that's a really good point that I was thinking about and hoping to get to. Sorry, I've been taking it up. Is that sometimes I might not be reading the words, sometimes I might just be sitting with this thing of beauty, and that might be your mental space. Just observe the art, not necessarily consume the words. So it's going to be incredible.
To add to that, I think to understand what submissions that we're going to be asking for very soon, it's going to be stories, but it also we're going to ask certain questions that will lend themselves more to pictures or artwork, or maybe a poem, or maybe a letter or something. So there are going to be a lot of different ways to contribute. And I just got chills just thinking about like being able to see and read it, like literally just got chills.
But we hope what it does is create a safe space for everyone. That's really what we want, is to be able to communicate with each other openly and honestly and authentically, and create a space where everyone feels seen and heard and connected. That's really the ultimate goal, I think.
Yeah, the comment that comes up consistently, or a variation of a comment in the live streams, and I say it every time, is I didn't realize other people felt the exact same way. I think there is this kind of loneliness, and so I think that's one of the reasons why the book exists, is so you can, at any moment, if you do feel alone, you can actually quickly reach for it. You'll know, actually, there's a lot of other stories and a lot of other people kind of feeling maybe the exact same way. So it doesn't have to be a single read or anything like that. I think it's something different, hopefully.
Amanda, thank you so much for spearheading this and for doing this with us, and for like all of these people, helping everybody.
Oh my God, thank you. I have witnessed. I just said mental health, and these guys went, and they have
got it. That we got this. But no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank all of you.
Thank you
Please come
for
see us.
coming and sitting with us for this.
Yeah, you want a crowd selfie? Let's do a crowd selfie.
Everyone, let's see if everyone in the crowd, you don't have to even have a purple shirt. Everyone.